Hello everybody, this is Bill from turboDial, and this video is going to provide an overview of the turboDial voicemail feature and do a detailed walkthrough on how to set it up. So here's the topics we'll cover. We're going to quickly go through the purpose and features for voicemail. We'll show you the voicemail notifications that you can receive. Then we'll show you how to set up voicemail and go through a demonstration of receiving a voicemail. Then we'll come back and cover some information about how the transcription works, how to clear or delete your voicemails and the difference between clearing and deleting. We'll look at dashboard reports for your voicemails. We'll show the options that an assigned user has for managing their voicemail. And we'll go through a few other details that are noteworthy. Here's how an inbound call works to a turboDial number when voicemail is set up on that number. When the call arrives, it starts ringing, of course, at the agent's device that's been assigned to receive that call. But when the agent doesn't answer, ringing will time out and voicemail will take over. Voicemail will play the greeting and record the message that the caller wants to leave. After that message has been received, the voicemail system will notify the agent, and when the agent is ready, they can retrieve and listen to the voicemail and follow up on it. So with the voicemail feature in turboDial, you'll never need to miss a call to one of your turboDial inbound numbers, and you won't need to use another telephone system to handle voicemail. Some people, for example, set up their inbound numbers to forward to their cell phone so that a voicemail system will pick up. You no longer need to do that if you have the voicemail feature in turboDial. Here's the features associated with that voicemail service in turboDial. First of all, you can create your greetings. You can record your greetings right in turboDial. You will record your caller's message. There's a new voicemail pane in turboDial where your notifications are displayed. It's down here in the area of the call outcomes for turboDial. And you can retrieve your messages by listening to them, or if you've got transcription enabled, you can read the messages. Now, voicemail is only available for inbound numbers that you've acquired in turboDial, and you'll need to do an upgrade to an add-on in your account to be able to receive voicemail in your account. Now, voicemail notifications, we'll touch on these first before we show a demonstration, but you'll get to see them again in the demonstration. There's three types. First of all, there's a notification right in the user's turboDial panel that a voicemail has been received. Secondly, notification can also be sent to the user's Infusionsoft ID email address. And then lastly, a note record is created in Infusionsoft and attached to the contact record. That also can serve as a notification of a voicemail. So the first notification type is the voicemail notification in turboDial. As I mentioned before, there's a voicemail pane now available. It's available by clicking the voicemail tab, which is in the call outcomes area of your turboDial panel. And a voicemail notification looks like this. You'll see the date that the voicemail arrived. You'll see who it's from according to the telephone company. You'll see who the lookup in your Infusionsoft account was. This will usually be the same, but the phone company may have a different name associated with the phone number than you have in your contact records. So they're not necessarily guaranteed to be the same. Here's the inbound number that was called when the call arrived. And here's how long the voicemail is in seconds. You can click this link then to listen to the voicemail or see the transcription if there is one. In fact, when you click that link, then a window such as this one pops up. You can click that play button to listen to the voicemail right then. You'll be able to delete that voicemail if you don't want it any longer. And if the transcription is ready, you'll also be able to see that transcription right here and read it in the window. The second type of notification is the voicemail message arriving in your email. Again, it's got the same information, the date when it arrived, who it's from according to the telephone company, the lookup information in your Infusionsoft account for that phone number that it arrived from, the phone number that was called on the inbound side in your account, the duration in seconds, and a link then again to view and listen to the voicemail, which pops up a window where you'll be able to play that message and delete it. And if the transcription is ready, you'll be able to read the transcription. Thirdly, there's voicemail in your note records. Every voicemail will create an Infusionsoft note record, assuming that there was a contact record associated with the caller ID of that call coming inbound. That note record will be attached to the contact record. When you open that note record, you'll see that the Custom Fields tab that you've got set up in your account will include a call recording link, and that link is how you can access the message to listen to it. If you click that link, Then once again, this window opens where you can play the voicemail message back, you can delete it, and if the transcription is ready, you can read the transcription also. So we're going to go through how to set up voicemail in an account. First of all, you must have turboDial account owner permissions to be able to set up voicemail in an account. You would first of all choose the turboDial inbound number that you're going to set up voicemail for. You're going to decide which turboDial user in your team will be assigned to be notified about voicemails for that number. And then you'll have that user compose and record their greeting and save that as a recorded message in turboDial. Then you can proceed to set up voicemail on the number and then create your dashboard reports if you like. Let's walk through how to do that. Okay, first of all, the first step is to create the greeting as a recorded message in turboDial. Give it a useful name such as Tom's voicemail greeting, something like that. And it should be either public or owned by the user that's going to be assigned to this number. Then you're going to modify the number in turboDial, and we'll show you how to do that. We're going to walk through that in a second. When you have the voicemail feature in your account, there are 3 screens associated with modifying an inbound number, and the voicemail details will be on the inbound call actions screen, which is the third of 3 screens. So you'll move on to that screen, you'll click the voicemail option, then you'll choose the number of rings that you want to wait before voicemail picks up and takes over. Then you're going to choose the assigned user. This is the user who's going to be notified about the voicemail, and this is the user also that will be the owner of the note records that voicemail creates. You can now choose if that user should receive email notifications and if you want to enable transcriptions. Now there is a cost to that, and we'll talk about that in a minute, so you wouldn't necessarily enable transcriptions. And then lastly, you're going to select that greeting that you set up or you had your user set up here in step 1 where they created a recorded message as a greeting. You're going to choose that greeting and set it here, and then click Update. Once you've done that, you've set up voicemail. Let's walk through a demonstration of that right in turboDial. Now, on this screen, I've got 3 things. I have an Infusionsoft account. I've got 2 turboDial windows. So how do I have 2 different turboDial windows? Well, actually, I've got this one on the right that's running in the Chrome browser using this turboDial account, and this one on the left running in the Firefox browser using that turboDial account. That's how I can have 2 on my screen at the same time. I'm going to use both of these because in a minute when I demonstrate a call, I'm going to call from this one on the right to this one on the left. But we're going to set up voicemail on a phone number here. It's going to be this phone number that I've designated to be called the WL116-22223 number. This is the first screen for setup of an inbound number for modifying it. And so you can see that this is the phone number right there, which is 952-222-3366. I'm going to set up this voicemail to be associated with this user called bill@weblever.com. So everywhere where I have the option to designate a user on all 3 of these setup screens, I'm going to use bill@weblever.com. And the first place where I'll do that is I'll designate that user to receive the email when turboDial is not able to identify where an inbound text message should be forwarded. That happens in only a few cases, such as an SMS arriving from a phone number that turboDial cannot associate to a contact record. It needs to know where to send that text message. And this is where it finds out where to send it. It'll send it to that address. Secondly, I want that same user to get a screen pop notification when the inbound call arrives. That's not required that you do that, but it's a good idea to give them a screen pop notification on their turboDial panel so they see who's calling. Once I've completed my configuration on the first screen, I'm going to click Update and Next. Now here on the second screen, this is where I designate for this inbound number what devices should ring when a call arrives. Once again, I want bill@weblever.com their soft phone to ring when the call arrives. That's typically how I'm going to set up a user to be associated to a phone number. And I could also, for example, in this case, have their cell phone ring. Go on to the next screen, and this is the inbound actions screen. It's already been set up for voicemail because I've done this previously, but let's walk through exactly what we did. First of all, I set it to ring for 3 rings before voicemail steps in and takes over. That gives 3 rings for the user to answer the phone. If the user doesn't answer, voicemail will pick up and play the greeting and then record the message. And keep in mind that this 3 rings is an approximate thing. Every phone company kind of times their rings differently. So this is approximately 3 rings. The Infusionsoft ID that I'm going to choose to assign this number to is bill@weblever.com. consistent with what I've put into the previous two screens. Now this assigned user is, again, this is the user who's going to receive voicemail notifications. And if I've set up to send email, that's the email address where notifications will be emailed. And lastly, when a voicemail note record is created, this is the user who will be the owner of those note records. I'm going to choose, I want to have a transcription created for these voicemails. And note that although these transcriptions are usually available within about a minute, it might take 15 minutes for them to arrive. And then lastly, I want to have a greeting. This is the message that gets played to a caller when voicemail picks up. And this greeting I've already created is in my list of recorded messages, and it's called voicemail greeting. So now when I click the update button, I've got voicemail set up for this number, 952-222-3366. I'm going to come over to this other screen, this other turboDial panel. I'm going to call that number right there. Let's make that call. I'm calling from the turboDial panel on the right to the turboDial panel on the left. The call has arrived here, but I'm not going to answer because I want to demonstrate voicemail. There's the screen pop that has come in.
Hi, thanks for calling Acme Sales. Please leave a message after the tone and we'll get right back to you.
Yeah, I'd like more information about your winter sale. Please give me a call back. Thanks. Okay, I've left a message. Now, the voicemail tab lights up because I've just received a voicemail there. I can show you that notification. There it is. I should also receive and there it is. There's an email notification that comes in. So here's the email notification. Voicemail from, this is the telephone company information. The lookup information in Infusionsoft, which is consistent. This was an inbound call to this 223366 number. It was 5 seconds. And I can click here to view and listen. And likewise, I can see the same view and listen link right here in the voicemail notification. So if I open that, there's the voicemail notification. I can play it back here. The transcription has already arrived. I'd like more information about your winter sale. Please give me a call back. Thanks. If I click the play button.
Yeah, I'd like more information about your winter sale. Please give me a call back. Thanks.
I can delete that there. Or I can delete it by clicking delete here. If I only want to clear that, but not delete the voicemail message, in other words, I want to keep that recording available to be accessed from my note record, I can clear it. But if I want to delete the actual recording and no longer have access to the recording, I can delete it here. It's okay to go ahead and delete it since it's going to be in the note record. Let's come over to my turboDial panel. I have a voicemail dashboard panel set up right here as a report on my dashboard. If I click to refresh this, here's this voicemail that just arrived. If I click that, very same window pops up. Play back the message here, read the transcript here. I can open this contact up and see the note record right here. This is the note record. Since that transcription is right here in the body of the note record, I've got that now permanently stored, and I don't actually need to keep that recording any longer. So if I go back here and I click, select that voicemail and delete the recording, that clears the notification. The recording has also now been deleted. If I go back here and refresh my turboDial panel, you can see that that recording has been deleted. No longer saving the recording, but I've got that transcription permanently available. I'll say a little bit more here about transcription. So that transcription, again, as you saw, it's optionally enabled when you configure voicemail in the account. Those usually arrive in about 1 minute, but I've seen on a few occasions where it takes up to 15 minutes to arrive, but you can pretty well guarantee they're going to be there within a minute. It's displayed in all of the view and listen windows that you can open up from your voicemail notifications, and it's also saved in the voicemail note record in Infusionsoft as we just showed you. And those transcriptions there are retained in that voicemail note record even after that voicemail message recording is deleted. Now the charge from Twilio for North America customers is 5 cents per minute of transcription. So it's going to cost you about a nickel for each of those transcriptions that's created. I showed you how to delete voicemails. Your first option is right here in the turboDial voicemail pane, and choose the boxes that you want to delete and click the delete button. Your second option is to click the delete button right in the view and listen window. When you delete a voicemail, it deletes the recording link in the note record and it deletes that recording in Twilio, so Twilio is no longer storing that recording. Clearing a voicemail notification is differently. you can select the voicemail notifications in your TurboDial panel, and rather than clicking the delete button, you click the clear button. What that does is it removes the notification in the TurboDial pane, so it no longer shows up here under the voicemail tab, but it still retains that recording in Twilio and the link to the recording in the note record in Infusionsoft. Voicemail note records are attached to the contact that TurboDial found from the caller ID when the call arrived. If there was no contact found, those voicemail note records are still created. They just won't be attached to a contact, but they can still be shown on your dashboard panel. And likewise, those note records are assigned to be owned by the TurboDial user that you set up when you configured the number as the user to be notified about these voicemails. On that voicemail note record, on the custom tab that you created, the call recording link is the place where you can play back that voicemail message. The link you see here will be deleted when you delete the voicemail recording, but this voicemail note record itself will never be deleted. So since you have those voicemail note records, you can now create dashboard reports. All dashboard reports for TurboDial are created using admin reports, using the task note report type under admin reports in Infusionsoft. And you set the main search type to be TurboDial : inbound call to voicemail. With that search string, all your voicemails will show up. You can set your other search filters as you need, according to date or user. You can save that report and say add to user home. When you do that, you'll see a voicemail report on your dashboard such as this one. The user that you assign this voicemail to does have access to some options for configuring how they want their voicemail to work. You, as the account owner, always provided the full initial configuration of voicemail for that phone number. And that initial configuration, as we showed, includes the Infusionsoft email ID of the assigned user. But that assigned user can then choose that number in their inbound and SMS selector in TurboDial, and they'll see a red config button. And with that button, they'll be able to access to change the number of rings that TurboDial waits before transferring to voicemail. They'll be able to change the greeting that they play back, and they'll be able to turn on or off email notifications. Let's actually demonstrate that. If I come back to this voicemail configuration and configure this number again, let's go ahead and move to the third screen. Let's set the Infusionsoft ID to be a different user. Let's set it to this one, www.jenkins.scm@gmail. That happens to be the user that's logged in over here. Now I update that change here. Let's log this user out and log them back in. Now you can see that the red pencil button for modifying this number shows up. If I click this as the user, it's a different configuration screen showing that they can change the number of rings before answer. They can change the greeting that gets played when voicemail takes over, and they can decide whether or not they want to be notified by email. Since you have voicemail, there are other features in your TurboDial account that are packaged along with it. And so you have the capability of ringing the phone of other users in your account by either transferring a call to them or starting an intercom call to them. The intercom and transfer buttons are right here under the Calls tab in your TurboDial account, and they refer to the intercom selector, which is right next to them, where all of your users in your account are listed. Now you can also set up voicemail for a user such that you are able to transfer a call directly to their voicemail without ringing their phone or their soft phone. Or you can start an intercom call directly to their voicemail without ringing their phone. Let's show you how to set that up. So here we have a TurboDial account again. Here's the intercom and transfer buttons under the Calls tab, and here's the intercom selector, and all the users in your account are listed here. Both their soft phones and their registered phone numbers are listed here. Let's go look at the voicemail setup for this number again. Now on the voicemail setup screen, there's an option here at the bottom called Enable Call Transfers Direct to this voicemail. If I check this box, then that'll give a new appearance for this user in my intercom selector. Here in my intercom selector, you'll see now there's a voicemail entry. This user, Bill Jenkins, has a couple phone numbers, and they also have a couple voicemail entries. That's because we have voicemail for this user set up on more than one inbound number. If I were to choose that number and start an intercom call, it will go direct to their voicemail. Or if I have a call in progress, I choose that voicemail number and click transfer. It will transfer that call directly to their voicemail, in both cases without ringing their phone or their soft phone. Instead, the voicemail greeting will start immediately. In fact, Let's start a call and I'll show you that. I'll hang up, we don't need to complete that. But that's how you can transfer a call or start a call directly into someone's voicemail without ringing their phone. Now, some items to note. I covered this a little bit when I went through the setup of it, of the voicemail on the number, but let's talk about this more. If you want to assign an inbound number in turboDial to really be owned by one user in your team, then you want to make sure that you choose a consistent values across all three configuration screens when you're configuring that inbound number. And in the example setup I did a few minutes ago, we did designate the user consistently across all of the options. We set Bill at WebLever as the backup email for forwarded SMSs. We designated Bill at WebLever as the person to receive a screen pop. We said that Bill at WebLever should be the soft phone that rings when an inbound call arrives. And we said that Bill at WebLever should be the Infusionsoft ID assigned to receive voicemail notifications and should be the owner of the voicemail note records when a voicemail is created. So Bill at WebLever is now effectively the person assigned to this inbound number in this turboDial account. Another item to note, the voicemail notifications in the turboDial panel include these assign buttons, and they have a specific purpose. If you click the up pointing triangle, that will refocus the turboDial panel onto the contact associated with this voicemail. If there was no contact assigned to this voicemail, or if the contact was assigned incorrectly, you can click the plus button and create a new contact record, and that voicemail will then be assigned to that new contact. Or in the other case where there already is a correct contact in your Infusionsoft account, but the voicemail was not assigned correctly to that contact, you can focus turboDial onto that contact and then click the upward pointing arrow, and that will reassign the voicemail message to that contact. So use the plus button if there is no contact record and you can create a new one. Use the up arrow if there is a contact record and you just need to get the voicemail message assigned correctly to that contact record. Another item to note, these voicemail notifications in the voicemail pane will not exist there forever. If you don't clear them out or delete them out, they will eventually clear on their own after 10 days. They won't delete the voicemail. The voicemail recording will still exist in Twilio. You'll still be able to access the link to that recording from your note record, but the notifications here in the voicemail pane will be cleared after about 10 days. Another item to note, once you've assigned a recorded message as a voicemail greeting, you can no longer modify that voicemail greeting. For example, you can't delete it or change its name over here under the recorded message panel. If you need to delete it or change the name of that voicemail greeting, you should first of all remove it and make it no longer the greeting on the inbound number. Then you can make the modifications and come back here and select the greeting that you need for that inbound number. Okay, that's the voicemail feature with turboDial. We've just walked through how to set it up and how to use it. Happy calling, everybody.